Hello,
Hi,
beautiful. How are you?
I am well. How are you? Have you been on mute all morning?
I was on mute for like the first 5 minutes, but it was enough to have like 100 comments and phone calls and messages of everybody telling me, you're on mute. We can't hear you. So
It's funny how time slows down when you're on mute, right? And like everybody's like, you're on mute. Okay, so that's awesome. Oh my gosh, hello. I just got done hearing Nikki. She's amazing. I love it. I love this.
yes. So this is your time. Go ahead and introduce yourself to people who you are, what you do, how you serve, all the good stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you so much, Elena, for having me on here. So excited to be a part of this amazing lineup. And so I am Giselle Quintanilla. I'm a mom. I always say I'm a mom first, a mom of 3, right? Love God. I run multiple businesses. So I say I am a full-time entrepreneur. I run multiple businesses. I serve my community, my creatives. So anybody who wants to, write their books, publish their books. I also serve my Latino community. So as you mentioned, I do PPLSI, Legal Shield, and ID Shield, just providing that access to the legal system and the justice system for our Latino community, making them aware of resources that they have. And just helping with my company, helping people translate their books into Spanish as well. So anything that is on the creative side, anything for the Latino community and just entrepreneurs in general. I coach women entrepreneurs, and it's my whole heart. It's just my whole heart to serve.
Love it. Wow. So what made you get into the place of wanting to serve and help in those capacities?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved entrepreneurship. I've always had a very strong entrepreneurial spirit, even from when I was young. So, for me, it's just always there. I think that going through my corporate, so let me just give you a little background on myself. I worked at a bank, at a regional bank. It's a rather large bank. And I started as a consultant, and then I moved into, assistant manager, branch manager, and then I had a few branches under me. And I loved what I was doing. I loved helping. Again, that was a good area for me to help my own people understand why you need an account, why you need financial wellness, why you need to know these things, right, about, just finances and wealth management. And it wasn't until 2013 when they got rid of my position and I had to go into a branch, and I was traveling to New Hope. So I was trying New Hope. So I am in New Jersey. And anybody who understands New Jersey and where Pennsylvania is, New Hope, Pennsylvania is an hour and a half away from where I live. So I went from managing 7 branches, making my own schedule, but still working, because in corporate, when you're constantly working. The higher up the ladder you go, you're constantly working. And then I had to travel an hour and a half to and an hour and a half back, and I never got to see my kids.
Wow.
And my kids were smaller at the time. So, I would get up at 6 in the morning to go to work. They weren't up yet. I would come home at 7 at night. They were off to bed. And it was horrible. I was miserable. And I came to a point where I'm like, something's got to give. I have to make a decision, right? And what happens in corporate a lot of times is you do so well that it benefits them more to keep you there than to move you happy, right? So that life-work balance doesn't give when it doesn't benefit them. And so they would not move me closer. And I put in my resignation, because I had to choose. So it was either my family or my career. And so I chose, I put in my 2 weeks, and the market manager calls me and he's like, we want to keep you and you're doing a great job. I'll put you in Temple University in Philadelphia. I didn't want to cross the bridge anymore. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I did not have to quit for you to want to do what I want now. So I thanked him very politely, but I said, I'm good. I'm stepping away. And that was huge, Lana, because I was making a good chunk of money. I was making 6 figures at the bank. So it's just, just to be clear. But I had to make a choice. What was important to me? And what that did is it set me on a journey of what am I here for? What am I doing?
That
You know, I
infamous question, right? What am
Yes.
I here for? What is it all about? Yeah.
Right, right. So I'm at home and I'm like, okay, now what? Like, now what? And so my mom was like, oh, you should start a business, and you know, why don't you take care of kids? So this is funny. Let me take you on my entrepreneurial journey. So here I am, like, that's a great idea. Let me go ahead and start a home-based daycare. That was a terrible idea. I should not have done that. I should not have done that. But it was, you know, it worked for a little bit. And I think it was just that progressive finding what works, because I knew foundationally it was entrepreneurship. And so did the daycare thing, and I was like, nope, this is not for me. You know, I want to love the babies from afar, right? And so from there, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll start a transportation business, right? And so my husband at the time, you know, it was, let's start this transportation business. That did not work either. It was terrible. We weren't getting any, I mean, it's just different things. I couldn't stand it. So that didn't work. And then I just finally settled for a job again. I settled for a job, and that was another thing that I was like, this is not, it just wasn't for me. And so I'm sitting at my table, my dining room table, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, what? Just God, me and God having a conversation. Like, God, what do you want me to do? If you will just show me what you want me to do, like, I promise, right? I'll do it right. I'll get it right, because I've started so many businesses. And I remember it was like, you know, your passion, right, is almost like the find, you know, it's like the stone of where you start. Like, that is where you start. It's what are you passionate about? And I love writing. So I wanted to start a blog. I wanted to write a book. And I was so frustrated though. And financially, it was horrible. It was bad, you know? So it was like my lowest point. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I want to do. I just know I want to do something. And I know that I can't keep doing what I'm doing because we're struggling. Mm-hmm. So that was really what kind of led me to understanding. I had a friend who she came to me and she said, you know, let's work together. I want to work with you. You know, she did a challenge, a faith challenge. And she said, what are you believing? What do you want to do? And I said, I want to start a blog. But a lot of times, Elena, we think that we have to, I think Nikki said this, we think we have to do it on our own. Mm-hmm. But really, there are people who are assigned to our lives to help us get to where we need to get to in a certain season. And I was standing in the airport, Kennedy Airport, because we were going to Peru at the time. And she calls me and she's like, hey, listen, I want to work with you. You want to do the blog? You want to write the book? I'll work with you. Let's meet. And it was so cool because she held me accountable. And that's what I needed. It was the accountability piece to get me started, right, on this road that I never would have imagined I would be on today.
Wow. That piece right there is huge. You've said two things, the passion, when God said, what are you passionate about? But then the accountability. Some people are amazing at executing and building and growing, but they need just almost like the little bumpers on a bowling lane. Like they can go here, but they needed just the guides to stay. And so it sounds like you put those two combinations for you. That was the magic piece.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so important, Elena, to know. So here's the thing, and I always say this, because accountability is often like a bad word, right? And so, but the thing is, you have to know that you're ready to receive accountability. Because if you're not ready to receive accountability, you will get offended quick, right? You will get offended quickly and you will quit. And so it's important to understand and know where you are, know how you operate, and know that everybody is not for you. But the ones that are know you, and they will know how to hold you accountable. So I'm the first one to tell on myself. Like, I'm like, listen, I'm a procrastinator. I would rather watch TV than do XYZ. Like, I'll tell on myself, because you have to be honest with yourself if you're going to be held accountable.
Yep. Love it. So Legal Shield, what got you into that?
So that was interesting. As I started my business in writing, right, and working with authors and writers, it was really just understanding I had to first focus on one business for myself. So I started with one. I started with Ready Writer and Ready Writer Services, and I needed to learn discipline around that. I needed to learn how to manage that, how to really do the administration the right way, communicate with clients, do every project in excellence. Like once I could be a good steward of that one, I felt like, okay, so what else can I do, right? And it just kept growing. And I had a friend who talked to me. I actually had the services first. So I had the services, and I love the services. I love being able to call my attorney and ask questions. That attorney actually helped me a lot within my business, within Ready Writer. And what I realized is this is something that I have that my parents didn't have. This is something I have that my uncles, my aunts, my cousins didn't have because they didn't know about it. And I have a passion. I think when you and I talked, I said to you, I love helping my Latinos. I love sharing with them. I love seeing them grow. We're not a minority anymore. So my heart is always for them and just any way I can help them. And I thought about my mom when I was in college. She actually opened up a cafe in Passaic, New Jersey. And I was so excited for her because she's with her business. I love serving people. So I'm like, yeah, Latinos, we like to serve people with food. We want them to eat, right? We want everybody to be fat. We love that. But, months later, she had to close. And I really believe in my heart of hearts, it was because there wasn't a resource there. Like she wasn't aware of what was out there to help her as an entrepreneur. Whether it was education, whether it was funding, whatever it was, right? The legal aspects of running a business, whatever it was. And then during the pandemic, I realized a lot of people didn't have their businesses registered correctly. So in the pandemic, when the government was giving grants out, right? There were like 4 different grants and all this help. I was talking to my girlfriend and she's like, a lot of Latino businesses couldn't take advantage of that. Why? Because they didn't register their businesses in their states. And all you needed to do was register just to have grants, to have that additional help, right? Because we were all going through it in the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And so knowing these things and knowing how I am, there just wasn't any way that I wasn't going to help. It was almost like it was my responsibility to help them, right? To educate, to say, hey, you have this resource that can help you. You have this service that can, talk you through registering your business. It can talk you through how to develop a contract or review your contract, right? So that you don't get in legal trouble, so that you don't close your business, right? So that it does thrive, right? And so when we know something, it's not just for us, it's for us to share with others, I don't care what it is. If you know something, if you have learned something, it is your moral obligation to share that with other people, because that's how we build each other up.
Yes. And I've heard that be the river, not the reservoir. Let it flow. And
it continues to flow.
And it continues to flow. And I think sometimes I think it comes from a place of insecurity, where when you gain access to knowledge or something new, you feel like you have to hold it because that makes you somehow more valuable or more powerful. And I don't know the reasoning behind it, but when you realize once you share that, you have impacted and added value to so many others than you ever could just by yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you open up the floodgates to adding more knowledge, because that's what it does, right? So it's like you said, it's a river, it flows. And so when you know something, I know something, and then I say, hey, Elena, you know what I found out? X, Y, Z, right? And now you can tell somebody else, and they can tell somebody else. And then I now leave room to continue to receive knowledge, to continue to learn and share and grow. And so it really is just, it's a continuation. I always say you can, let somebody else shine and still be lit. It's not a matter of like, right? It's not a matter of me hogging it. Listen, I could let you shine and still be lit. So it's okay.
I have to stop you right there. I absolutely love that. Like, I love that. I mean, just envision a candle, a lighter, like, it still is lit, but it can, like a birthday cake with a million candles on it. They're all burning now. It's not like it takes the one from the other. That is brand new to me. And I absolutely love that. Thank you. I had to just be like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Listen, take it. I say it all the time. I say it all the time, and I believe it, and I live by that.
Love it. So what's next for you? Like, how do you see yourself? Like what do you see forward to continue to share and help?
Yeah, that is a great question. That's a great question. I'm Ready Writer Services is continuing to grow. I am working on major projects right now for other clients, but I'm also in the process of writing my own story, my book, because during the pandemic, I did go through something that was truly life altering. And so, going through my relationship and the end of my marriage, and then still coming out, like a lot of, I always say I don't look like what I went through, and that's a blessing, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to share with women just the process of healing. Because so many women go through stuff, and the pandemic really did a number on marriages, right? But there is a process into healing. So I'm excited to get into whatever God wants me to do regarding this new book. Mm-hmm. And then with, Legal Shows, ID Shows, I'm fully focused on growing. I want to grow that in the Latino community. My whole heart is to see an increase of Latino businesses that are thriving, legitimately just doing well, growing. I think I text you, I love besitos. I'm actually wearing the eyeshadow. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just so awesome. It fills me up to see my people do well, because we are so just creative and we're witty, and nothing against everybody else. I might be a little biased, but but I just feel like there's no reason we can't thrive. There's just no reason we can't grow and really have success, right? So my heart is to continue to grow that area of my business, and then coach other women to just, also identify their purpose so they can step into their businesses or whatever God lays on their heart.
Yes, and I love it, because just how you said earlier, if you know something, share it, where at some point when we're talking about our Latino community, somebody's got to go first. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's just in general concept, but somebody's got to go first and start opening the conversation and start teaching what they know, because now those people can then go and start sharing. But when we're starting from scratch, that it kind of feels like at times, because it's almost like we are behind in this area. I talk about leadership and entrepreneurship, and who were the mentors I had to look at? There weren't. You had to pave the way. So it's like somebody's got to go first. And why not you? Why not her? Why, somebody. So I love the work that you're doing.
I love what you said. Somebody's got to go first. That is for somebody who is, and I can't see the chat, but that's for somebody in the chat. Somebody's got to, and it's got, look, I'm going to be like, tag, you're it. You have to.
Yeah.
And
pass that baton. Yeah.
I love it though, because you have to, you cannot look at something. And I always say, like, if you're frustrated about a thing, then you are meant to do something about it. And so that is, we are meant to do something about the things that frustrate us or the things that we want to change. And we can create that change. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. And I do think it's so important. I think I need to turn my volume down. The authenticity, just being authentic, true to who you are, true to your perfect imperfections. And I like to be honest in the space that if I'm trying something new, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm learning right alongside with you. And that's the beauty of it. People feel safer when you know you're in it together, you know?
100%. Oh my gosh, I agree. And that's the reason why I wanted to share with everybody all of my business fails. We'll say fails for lack of a better word. But I wanted to share that with you because there's purpose in that. You know, like somebody on here has tried several things and it has not worked. There's purpose in that. And so definitely find out, you know, what it is and go with it. Just go with it. Learn from it. Embrace it, right? Embrace what doesn't work. I've taken literally something from each thing that I've done and I'm like, okay, this worked here. I am going to apply it to this business, right? And and I agree with you. So one of the thoughts I had as I was thinking about, you know, just this time is what you serve people so much better and authentically when you understand your purpose, when you understand what you were created for. You serve people so much better and more authentically. Yes. And so, you know, I completely agree with you. And when I first started Ready Writer, every time I would talk to a client, I'd be like, listen, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I promise you it's going to be great. And people would laugh. Clients would laugh. They would be like, oh, you're so funny. And I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. I don't know what I'm doing, right? That authenticity and that I don't know the details, but I know I am going to do right by you. I know that you and I are we're in this together and we're going to get it done. We're going to get your book published. It's going to be awesome. So that was me in the beginning. And I can tell you right now, I had never had a client go, okay, thank you so much. I'll think about it. Yeah, you don't know what you're doing. All right. Now, let me just say this. Let me balance it out. Don't tell people that you don't know what you're doing. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's that humility. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's your humility. And as you said, Elena, your authenticity that people will gravitate towards. And the ones that are for you, they will be there. They're for you.
100%. And that's why even this Streamathon, I have been very open. I've never done this before. It was an idea. I loved the idea. Let's roll with it. But that honesty, that I'm not here to show up to be like perfect and tell you I know how it's going to go from start to finish, because I don't. I'm doing this right alongside with you all for the very first time. So it's kind of fun, you know?
And can I tell you, it has been so much fun watching. And I don't think the funny part is it didn't click. So when you were like, hey, you want to do this kind of in my mind, it didn't click that this was going to go on a whole 24 hours. Like, I know you said it, but in my mind, I was like, oh, until you went live today. And I'm like, she's really doing this 24 hours. Like, right? My hat goes off to you and all of the speakers. So this is awesome. It has been fun to watch and you listen to everybody. It's been fun, you know, being on here. Like, this has been amazing. And you're right. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have all the answers in the moment. You don't have to know exactly what you're doing, right? You just have to step out and have faith it's going to work out. And it is. And I promise you that this is such a success because you stepped out. I love it. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so happy that you joined us today. And if you happen to wake up at like 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom or something, tune in and say hi. I'll still be here.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks so much for joining today.